Hello, and welcome to the Promote Your Work workshop. My name is Katrina Kaler. I am the president and CEO of Artlink, Inc., and we are very pleased to present tonight's workshop to you as a part of our partnership with the City of Phoenix Office of Arts and Culture. If this is your first workshop, you may be interested to know that this is the fourth in a series produced in partnership with the city. And in the chat, in this Zoom call, you can find the link to the webpage that links to the previous workshops and the recordings of those workshops. And each of those are chock full with information. We hope you take the time to review, and we certainly appreciate you joining us this evening and learning how to promote your work. I will say, before I make the first introduction, we are here to talk about the global conversation, and I offer some helpful tips to you artists who are producing such excellent work out in the community and throughout the state of Arizona. We are here as Artlink to do what we can to find those links for you. We know that we are not linking without the work that you produce. This is truly a part of our mission and at the heart of our mission. We appreciate you. We appreciate you every day. We appreciate the work that you do. We appreciate the time that you invest to making the connection to the rest of the community and partnerships via Artlink and even outside of the Artlink. And we are here for you, not just this evening, but every day to do what we can to support your work. Thank you for your contribution to our creative community and our culture. We wouldn't want to live in Arizona if it weren't for you. You make this an artful state, and we are very happy to embark on this journey and support you in your goals. So without further ado, the very first introduction we will make is Melissa Farley. Melissa Farley serves as Artlink's media manager, and I think you will see very shortly that her wealth of experience is well suited to not just this topic tonight, but serving Artlink in supporting you and everything that I just mentioned a moment ago. So Melissa, thank you for your work on this, and I'm turning this over to you.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Katrina. It's so amazing to be here tonight. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to put a message in the chat right now asking sort of to gauge your comfort level with social media and marketing, just so I can kind of get an idea of how everyone feels about their experience right now, just so I know what to kind of focus on with this presentation. But we have a lot to cover today, and it's going to feel like a lot of information. So, just kind of relax, take it in, and you'll get a copy of this presentation. And Leslie and I will be available for questions as well. So I'm excited to go ahead and get started. Okay, I see lots of 3s, some 2s, a 2.5. Awesome. Okay. So tonight's agenda is we're going to be going over sort of a general inventory of some tools that are available to you. We're going to touch on social media and email marketing, and we'll also be talking about Artlink's role and how you can use our newest tool and platform, Itinerary, to be successful. And then we will open it up for a Q&A session. So with that said, your speakers tonight you've met our amazing president, Katrina. Leslie will be speaking on Itinerary. We have Chris and a special guest artist that will be speaking in just a bit, Heather. So we're very thankful to have her joining us tonight. So we're going to start by going over some digital platforms and social media platforms, and then we'll move a little bit into email marketing, some real world marketing tools, our marketing items, and then I want to share with you essentially a list of very helpful production tools that you might already be using or might consider exploring after this conversation. So if you don't already know, social media is being used by over 4 billion people, which represents half of the global population. It's a huge impact. And most people are on social media in some way or another. What I don't know that a lot of people are realizing is that algorithms are shifting right now to really try to encourage meaningful engagements, meaningful interactions. And so engagement and reach have been even harder than normal to sort of grow. But there are some really kind of practical, tactical things that you can do to start having success on these platforms. So I've got to move my little window. You guys are blocking all my stats here, looking at your beautiful faces. Okay. So right now, most people are familiar with Facebook. It's kind of an OG platform at this point. There's 70% of adults that use this. There's tons, billions of active users every month, and it still is the #1 largest media platform in the world. Oh. It does, and I'm giving you some background on audiences just because, it's not suggested that you try to have a presence on every single platform. So the idea here is to maybe pay attention to what some of these audiences look like and who your audiences are that buy your art or want to interact with your art or your business or your brand, and think about where you might be a great fit to put in some effort and energy and focus into a platform. So it's really popular with men and women aged 35 to 54. It's actually the least popular with women, young women, ages 16 to 24. And there is still quite a bit of daily visits from the American public. What's really popping up right now is 250 million stores. And we're not spending a whole lot of time talking about stores or marketplaces in this presentation, but that's something that if you have specific questions on, I'm happy to have conversations with you about. It's a really powerful tool, especially for artists and for business owners. So Facebook really wants to see engagements. Almost all platforms do. And what that means is you don't just want to get a like on your content, you want to get an actual reaction. So love, anger, the whoa face, those are all actually weighted more to Facebook than just a thumbs up like. Anytime you get commenting or sharing done on your post, that's also weighted more. So one of the things that I used to train my reporters on when I worked at USA Today and my producers when we would create content is to, whenever you're writing a piece of content, don't just think about dispersing information. Think about how you want somebody to feel after they have come across and encountered your post. What is that emotional response that you want to elicit? And when you think about that and the front end, and you craft your copy and you select your visuals and you do everything with that in mind first, that really allows you to make an informed decision and hopefully kind of naturally and organically facilitate those engagement cues that happen. So what's really important here, you'll hear me say this almost about every platform, is people move really, really fast through their feed. You have to be strong with your visual choices and you have to catch them in a matter of seconds. So if you're doing video content, especially, make sure that you're putting a really strong shot right at the beginning. Don't save your good stuff for the end. You can always come back to, some good stuff later, but you really want to start out strong. That's extremely important. If you're interested in additional Facebook metrics or any sort of additional tips, I really like Sprout Social and Hootsuite. Not so much as a scheduling platform anymore for Hootsuite, but they have really great articles that they put out about each of the social platforms that I encourage you to visit. Some really kind of not easy wins, but things to keep in mind if you're thinking of what kind of content do I post on Facebook. It's absolutely important that you have call to actions. So ask questions, tell them exactly what you want them to do when they interact with your content. Share something informational or educational, be emotionally relatable. If you are open to being vulnerable, that really makes an impact, because you'll hear me say this a lot too. People don't trust other brands or companies, they trust other people. They're going to want to connect to you. Laughter, entertaining them is actually a really big way to get engagement. You can always provide behind the scenes looks. And then, one of the things that I have on the side over here is tell a touching story in long form copy. Now, Facebook is one of the few platforms that's still a pretty big win to do something like that. So if you have a big story and experience that you want to share about a piece of work that you've spent a lot of time on, this is a really good platform to do something like that. All right, the platform formerly known as Twitter. This is X. More than half of the users are men. There are 80 million monthly active users, and it is the 14th most popular platform. So it's still got some weight. The largest age group is 25 to 34. Most people on Twitter are still, I guess I won't say most, 40% still are high educated. And there's actually a high income rate for people that are on Twitter. So when you think about, are these people that are going to be able to afford or are interested in investing in art, Twitter is actually not a bad place to think about looking at. With Twitter, it's really about relevance and staying on top of kind of what's current. So one of the best things that you can do is really plug into a niche on Twitter. So, if you're a writer, like plug in with Book Talk, I'm on timeout TikTok. Twitter, if you're on Book Twitter or Dog Twitter or, Art Twitter, and really just kind of find your people and then create specific content that is geared towards that topic. And you can't over tweet. You don't want to necessarily just be saying jargon and, just tweeting to tweet, but you really can tweet as much as you want all throughout the day. You've probably seen it on Twitter where people just share their thoughts. And what you really want to do that's important on the way that X's algorithm works now is, and this is something to keep in mind, you want to respond to engagement right away. So if somebody starts responding to, what do they call it now? Posts, not tweets. If someone responds to your post, you want to respond to that as quickly as possible. So there's a bit of a timeliness here to this platform. You really want to be thoughtful on X too. There's kind of a wit and a sarcasm, a humor that goes along with really thoughtful pieces of content. You can also join in Twitter campaigns. You definitely want to be tagging people on Twitter who you think would be interested in your content. And one of the things to think about, not just for your Twitter or your X profile, but if you are a creator, make sure in your bio that you're introducing yourself, what you do, your contact information, and then on Twitter or X, you can actually pin a tweet with pieces of your work with all of that information as well. So that's a really useful thing. And I would suggest too, just as an overall branding recommendation, that whatever social platforms you're on, you try to claim the same name everywhere so that you're easily recognizable, you are easy to find. And when you are at conferences or out talking to people, you can just say, oh, I'm the Melissa Farley on all platforms. It's so much easier. The other thing is to think about, I know it sounds boring, but keeping your profile pictures the same on all platforms as well. So again, it's that recognition and that visibility that happens. So people, again, aren't wondering, is this her? I don't know if that's her. You really want to make it as easy as possible for people to find you. We won't go over this, but this is just something that if you're trying to think about what to possibly post on X, here's kind of a graphic that you can use to reference. Instagram is a lot of people's powerhouse. It's the 4th most active social media platform. It is quickly becoming Gen Z's favorite platform, and it is where people typically spend at least a half hour every day on Instagram. So the majority of Instagram users are Gen Z and millennials. Gen X is also really growing quickly on this platform. Most people, again, 40% have a household income above 75,000, and then 60% of households earn 100,000 or more use Instagram. So again, there is absolute buying power here. And Instagram has also created really smart ad campaigns that artists can utilize. Again, we're not talking so much about paid advertising in this particular presentation, but if you have specific questions about wanting to get started with marketing campaigns, I'm absolutely happy to talk to you about that. Reels. Instagram really prioritizes Reels. And for folks that aren't already actively creating Reels, it can feel kind of scary, but they do not have to be scary. And I want to share a couple of tips with you. The shorter, the better, at least when you're first starting out. And the reason for that is Instagram rates success based off of time watched. So it's much better to have a really short reel that somebody watches all the way through than use like the full 90-second allotment and then somebody only watches it 10 seconds through. So you really kind of want to make sure that you're satisfying a whole playthrough. Once you kind of have a couple of reels where people are watching all the way through and you're getting engagement and interactions, that lets the algorithm know that, oh, people actually want to see this content. When you are making reels, do not copy and paste any text into the post itself in your video. You want to do everything in app. You want to try to use the features that they make available to you. Instagram can tell when you don't do that. So you want to use in-app music, particularly trending music. It has a little up arrow that you can see when you're looking at music. You want to add relevant topics. You can choose up to 3. There is an arts category, so you can choose visual arts or painting, and there's quite a few actually that you can pick from. And one of the things that people have been experimenting with and seeing success is if you click on advanced settings, you can actually turn off likes. And so what that does is it when it shows up in the feed, it doesn't show how many likes you're getting on the reel. And for some reason, that does make an impact on performance. So some just general tips about working in Instagram. You can tell this is one of my favorite platforms. You really want to be consistent about how often you post and what kind of content you post. Now, being consistent doesn't mean that you have to post every single day. It means maybe you decide that you want to post 3 times a week. We'll commit to that. Show up every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and post those 3 times a week, and allow your audience to build expectation from you and that trust with you. Another really big thing that's important right now on Instagram and on platforms like TikTok as well is they want to see meaningful interaction. So you can't just put content out and then disappear. Instagram really wants to see that you are liking other people's content, that you're commenting on other people's content, that you're even just dropping emojis on their stories or sending messages to people who you want to interact with. They really want to see that, again, that you're having meaningful interactions. This actually helps with your own performance and your own reach and your own numbers. So it's kind of cool because you are supporting and giving to your fellow artists and other friends and family that you follow, but it also helps you in return. So one of the things I suggest for a lot of people is to actually schedule 10 minutes, 15 minutes in the morning, maybe at lunch, and then in the evening to just take those 10 minutes and go in and do some interactions on this platform so that you are being active on it. You also want to make sure that you're making original content, and hashtags operate like search engines. So you want to use hashtags that people can actually use to find the content that you're presenting or talking about. I did put together just kind of a list of different things, that you could possibly do for reel or post ideas. I have a lot more of these ideas that I am happy to share with you. Again, it does not have to be super high quality. It does not have to be fancy. You don't have to be totally made up or anything. You really just want to be genuine and authentic and show a connection with you and with your work. And that's what people want to see. So again, this slide is just some suggestions about things that you can possibly do as content ideas. Good old TikTok. Okay. So TikTok's a fun kind of beast of a platform. It's just exploded in popularity. People actually don't like over-polished content here. They don't want something that feels like a big brand made it. They want really authentic, real experiences. They want to be entertained and they want to feel they're getting something out of it. So, I think really what I see a lot of success happening for artists here is when artists give BTS experiences, behind the scenes experiences of their process, when they share about their mistakes and what they've learned, when they share their techniques. It's really just sort of open. And, again, it's the same thing as with with X or with Twitter, there are niches on TikTok that you can really dial in and just work and give your focus and attention to art on TikTok and be completely devoted to that. So if you have kids, you might have noticed that they're always on TikTok. The average number, that people open the app any given day is 19 times. Compared to Instagram, which is a half hour every day, this is up to about almost an hour and a half every day. It is a much younger audience on TikTok, but it's also a female dominant audience on TikTok. So again, things to keep in mind for your possible target audience. Again, they do prioritize videos that have interactions. So you want a video that people aren't just watching, but that they're actually engaging with. So those are the likes, shares, follows, comments. Entertainment is the most popular category. People are just kind of looking for a good time. You really, again, I just want to drive this home, make the first 2 seconds of your video like the best thing that you can possibly make it. You want to grab your attention. TikTok also did a phenomenal job of making their platform keyword optimized. So your keywords show up not just in your captions, but in those hashtags. Whenever you do voice overlay or text overlays, you can plug your content with keywords as much as possible. I mean, don't make it sound like jargon. You want it to still sound like a real conversation. But all of that stuff is searchable. And so use that to your advantage. Again, you don't have to be super high quality, you're not studio quality, but you really do want to have some good lighting, clean audio. And you want to try to be over 10 seconds. That's their recommendation for them. Anything shorter than that, they don't love. So if your 10 seconds are over, you're in pretty good shape. And they do recommend that any videos that you do for TikTok, that you keep audio in mind. So assume that people are going to be watching your video with audio on. TikTok is the same as Instagram, where you want to use their native in-app tools, and you want to make sure that you're not repurposing like your Instagram reels and trying to put them on TikTok. They know that. You want to use your TikTok videos specifically for TikTok. Now, there has been some discussion on if you can repurpose TikTok videos for Instagram, and there has been success with that. You can try that, but I still recommend doing original content. So it's kind of hard if you're thinking about TikTok or Instagram to pick which one to prioritize. It really kind of just depends on personal preference. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a totally different platform experience. And if you haven't used LinkedIn, this might be of interest to you. And here's what I thought stood out about LinkedIn, that LinkedIn users have 2 times the buying power as the average online audience. These are usually highly educated groups of people, and there's 194 million users on LinkedIn. Millennials are the dominant age group here. It is still skewing slightly male, and more than half of the audience on LinkedIn makes more than $75,000. LinkedIn is really a place for conversation. So yes, it is about content that you post, but it's more so about facilitating conversations and two-way interactions on the platform. They really are more considered a professional or business platform. So you really want to make sure that anything you post here is grammatically correct, that you're using 3 hashtags, probably not more than that. They don't want you to post more than 3 hours. And again, they really want to facilitate a conversation, a thoughtful conversation. So making kind of an informative post or sharing content and then asking for people's thoughts, opinions, feedback, expertise, that's something that you can really do back and forth on LinkedIn. And like I said, you can really build your profile here strategically. So if you're starting out on LinkedIn, one of the recommendations I would make is take some time to research who is it that you want to reach. Are you trying to reach commercial property owners that might be looking for artists? Are you trying to connect with other artists? Are you trying to connect with museums and galleries, and build out your contacts on LinkedIn so that whenever you show content, that it shows up in a feed of exactly your target audience. So that's something I'd absolutely recommend you take some time doing. Okay, so that was kind of just a really quick overview of some of the audiences, the benefits, things to think about for each different platform. We're going to move into email marketing. And the reason why I want to move into email marketing is because email marketing is a really fantastic, powerful tool that you want to make sure that you have in your tool belt. You are 3 times more likely to close a sale via email than on a social platform. And email is used by pretty much everybody who's kind of trying to do a traditional sales funnel model, which I know Heather is going to be talking about later. And it's something to keep in mind that when you make a post on social media, the chances of it being seen or viewed organically is about 2 to 4% of your total audience. When you send an email, the open rate is traditionally around 18%, which still sounds low. But when you think about a comparison of 2% to 18%, that's a really big difference. Now, email marketing is, I say, really powerful because it's really about building relationships and staying top of mind with people. You can have really, really valuable conversations with folks in a really intimate way. And, you know, what I suggest to folks is there's still content planning involved with email marketing, but it's on such a personal level. And we don't do sales the majority of times that you're actually doing email, because when you do ask for a sale, it feels special because you've sort of built up that you're launching something, or you know that they've been on this journey with you, and so it's not an icky, gross sales email campaign every single time. It's like real talk with a friend for, I'd say, 80% of the time, and then 10% maybe you're trying to build up a launch strategy, something that you've got coming up, and then you actually make your ask. So I love this idea, and I always encourage all of my clients, everybody I work with, to really start building an email marketing list because you own it. And that's really important. On social media, you can have thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, and then they change their algorithm and suddenly your content doesn't perform anymore, or you get locked out of your Instagram account and you can't get back. These are real stories that have devastated people. And so I'm not telling it to you to scare you. I'm just saying owning your email list, that's something that can't be taken away from you. And so I highly encourage you to, if nothing else, when you walk away from this call, think about kind of starting the process for doing a sales funnel and prospecting and building out that email marketing side. So yeah, I kind of talked about, you know, the average reach is 2 to 4%. There are some examples that I'm going to share about a couple artists that are doing email marketing really well. But one of the things that, you know, I think is important to think about is, like, I follow 2 artists. I follow more than that, but 2 artists that stand out in my mind. One, her name is Amy Stewart. She is an author and she's an artist, and her emails are delightful. I look forward to getting them every single week because she's sharing books that she's reading. She's sharing her new watercolors. She's sharing when she has a class that I can take on Skillshare. She's sharing where she's traveling. She's sharing everything that she's been thinking about that's been on her mind for the last week. You know, it's just such a really delightful experience. And I tell you what, every time she's released a new collection, I buy something because I'm invested in who she is. I'm invested in her journey. I'm invested in everything that she does. And that's the power of a good email marketing approach. So yeah, I just gave you Amy Stewart, who is an artist and an author. And then Pink Puddle Studio, Rachel is actually an artist here in Arizona. She has a really great email presence as well. She does a ton of classes and kind of community events, and I love getting her emails. I love looking forward to her launches too. So Amy Stewart and Pink Puddle Studio, I encourage you, just to check them out. If you want to look for examples, start getting those in your inbox, to see if it's something that you might be inspired by. Okay. We're stepping off of digital and social. We are moving into the real world. It's more than just having business cards. And I do suggest, speaking of digital, I do suggest that you have physical business cards, and you can also do a digital business card now with a QR code to actually have people save your contact information directly into their phone. It's a really useful tool. But if you're an artist going out at shows, you want to make sure that you have, a Venmo account set up and your Stripe account and all of that stuff so that you can take payments seamlessly. You want to think about postcards and flyers for your shows and your collections. You want to think about freebies that you can give away, stickers. I want to use the example of talking about local buzz for a second. If you live in the Valley, you've probably seen local buzz stickers on everybody's water bottles, on business bulletin boards. Everybody knows who Local Buzz is, and that's because of the presence of real world marketing that they put into place. So you really want to be top of mind and be present, and sometimes you can do that the best or the strongest in real world examples. One thing that I want to talk about is these registration cards. So this is a kind of different way of thinking about it, of taking control of your marketing efforts. And what I mean by that is when you're out at events, a lot of times what happens is people will maybe be browsing your work, but they're not ready to buy anything just yet. And so they go, oh, do you have a business card? And then you hand them a business card and then they walk away and may or may not follow up. You may not hear from them again. That's out of your court. If you do the opposite and print out like postcard size registration cards, where when people show interest in your work, but maybe aren't necessarily ready to buy, and you say, oh, you know what? I see that you are a fan of these pieces. I actually have a show coming up in another month. I'd love to get your contact information so I can send you this information about my upcoming shows. Then you start building your email list. Also, you can start tracking and following up after people have been with you at your show. And this also helps you kind of keep going back to the email marketing. You can start separating a list. So if people start spending money with you over a certain amount, you can put them into a VIP list and send them kind of special deals or insider looks. And then you have your regular list of people that you're following up with. The other thing to think about is don't sit back and wait for opportunities to come to you. If there's a show or a gallery or something you want to be a part of, print out a postcard, a print, and send that and a nice note, a handwritten note to the people that you want to work with, or send a thank you note to high purchase clients. It makes so much of a stronger connection than just, an Instagram DM or something less personal. So I highly recommend investing in some real world marketing supplies to have at your disposal, especially when you're doing any sort of community interaction events. Okay, we're into the tools portion. I just want to chat briefly. And again, these are just a list. So, these are things that are kind of tried and true that a lot of clients use. There are services that make building an email marketing campaign and tracking all of that kind of information easier. You've probably heard of MailChimp and ConvertKit and Constant Contact, but there are a couple others. Social media. There are scheduling platforms that you can use that will be to your advantage later: Sendable, Sprout Social, Zoho, Social Pilot, which I misspelled, I just realized. But there's quite a few lists, and you can just Google best social media platforms, and there's some really great articles that compare and contrast price points and features depending on what platform you want to focus on. So definitely some things that can make your life easier. For content creation, I know the designers probably cry and weep every time I talk about Canva, but it is such a powerful tool. You can create so much on Canva. You can create business cards and get them printed on Canva. You can create posters and so many different products. It's not just about creating social graphics anymore. They've really expanded their toolkit and what they make available to you. But if you're not a Canva fan, or if you just like working in the Adobe suite, there's Adobe Express, BuzzSumo, and a couple of others. But I personally am a Canva fan. It's extremely affordable. It's extremely easy to use. I highly suggest you start playing with that to help with your content creation. And then this is social media. Technically, it's video editing that can help make doing some reels a little bit easier. You're still going to want to use a lot of in-app features. I'm not discounting that or negating what I said earlier. These help with actually splicing and making the editing, like putting some pieces together, easier. CapCut's a really easy one, as well as InShot. Those are user-friendly if you're first starting out, but again, there's a ton on here that you can kind of pick with. And then Swag, if you want to get some stickers made or things like that. There's Printful, Vistaprint. You can do it on Canva. So yeah, lots of good options to work with here. So just some overall themes I want to touch on, and then I'm going to turn it over to Heather. Really what it comes down to for a good marketing presence, good visibility, good branding, is it comes down to storytelling. You really want to make sure that every time you're interacting with somebody, you're telling a story. And it's not about necessarily, being the most entertaining or, the best at anything or looking the prettiest. It's really about sharing a human experience with another human. And so I tell my clients all the time, don't think about trying to reach 10,000 people. Don't think about trying to appeal to the masses. Think about that one person that you want to make a connection with. That's really, really important. And the other thing that we should probably talk about, right, is there's a lot of people that ask, do I need to have a separate account for like business and my personal? Really, that's personal preference. My suggestion to you is I'm a big fan of vulnerability and being vulnerable with your work and with yourself. And I think that creates a really powerful connection. But if that's not something you're comfortable with and it's not necessary for the kind of art that you create, then create a business account and keep that separate. But if that is something that you welcome, just know that then everything that is on your profiles is a representation of your brand. You are a personal brand. And so any images that you pick, videos that you post, anything, that's stuff that people are going to now associate with you. And so, that's why I say it's really a matter of personal preference. There are a lot of artists who their values, their opinions, their way that they've grown up are part of their art and part of their personal story. And so it makes absolute sense to just have one account. There is no right or wrong way. So the point is to do something that you feel good about, that doesn't cause you to feel friction, and that you want to show up and do consistently. I also want to make it very, very clear that yes, certain people go viral or they blow up and, get really famous on TikTok right out of the gate. That does happen. Most of the time it does not happen, and it is a long game, and it can take months and months and months and months to build a community. And what's really important is in my business, there's something called vanity metrics, where you could have 100,000 followers, but if when you release a product, only 10 people out of 100,000 buy that product, it doesn't mean anything. So it's really not about how many followers you have. It's how many meaningful connections can you make? How much loyalty can you build with your audience? And then loyalty turns into trust, and then trust turns into they want to support you in everything that you do and in your endeavors. So again, some tips there to think about. I want you to really think about marketing and social media as part of your business plan. It's not a fun hobby. I mean, it can be a fun hobby if you want it to be, but if you're trying to, create a business and have an online presence, you have to treat it that way and you have to prioritize it. And so again, I often recommend that people, if you're first starting out, make the investment and work with a strategist to at least come up with a plan that's going to feel good for you and help you get started in the right direction. Take some time to actually schedule on your calendar when you're going to do content creation, identify content pillars that you want to regularly post about, and then possibly even do batch scheduling days, so maybe you're really busy all the time, but you know that you can give 2 hours every Thursday to create at least 3 pieces of content. Commit to that, put it in your calendar and make it a priority. So it's about taking consistent action and consistently showing up in the best way that you can. Okay, I am so excited and happy to introduce Heather. She's going to talk about funnels and A/B testing. And I know, again, I just threw a bunch at you. So just don't get overwhelmed and listen to the amazingness that Heather has to instill.
Thanks. So is it okay if I talk just quickly about a few points that you made really quick from my experience?
Yeah.
Okay, so with likes and engagement and everything is really important, but I just want to put this out there because I get so caught up in it. And sometimes it's really disheartening, when you put a lot of work into a post and it just doesn't really do very well. Engagement's really well, so you reach all of your followers, but don't get too hung up on it because I have around 69,000 followers on Instagram, and sometimes a post will reach 30,000 people and I won't get a sale. But then sometimes it'll reach 300 people and I'll get 30 likes is all. And I'm like, what the heck? And I sell something. So focus on it, but really focus on speaking about yourself as we had talked about. And I learned a long time ago because I had a lot of people pressuring me. And there's this age old saying that the artwork should sell itself. And that is absolutely not true. People need to connect and engage like we spoke about. And they're not really, they can feel something when they see a piece, but if they have context behind why that piece was created or why you created it and what it meant to you or what your intention is for them to feel, they're going to be more apt to become emotionally connected to the piece and they're going to want to collect it a lot more. So those are a couple little points. First of all, I learned, so we're going to talk about the sales funnel and A/B testing. And this goes back to things can take weeks, months, years. Usually with a sales funnel, it's minimum 3 months. I ended up learning about this because I do paid ads, but I'm just at that point in my business where, sorry, if you guys hear my dog with her squeaky toy, she gets excited when I talk. Yeah, right, puppies. So I learned about all this because of paid advertising, but it's something that is a very simple concept. It can get very complex, but it literally should apply to literally everything you do if you want to grow and scale and build your sales. So first and foremost is your sales funnel. I didn't put together a presentation, so I'm just going to use my artist water bottle as an example. So it's not a full-on funnel, but there's 3 stages, and there's something called the top of your funnel, the middle of your funnel, and the bottom of your funnel. So the top of your funnel is going to start out bigger, and then it's going to get smaller, and then they like to associate with a drip at the bottom of your funnel. The top of your funnel is going to be your people that you end up learning through A/B testing, which I will talk about in a second, who is your target audience, people that you end up realizing that you sell most of your work to, people that engage with your work more, people that you can impact your work more with. So those are people that you are targeting or trying to target, and also people who have just come in contact with your brand for the first time. The middle of the funnel is going to be people, and all of these people also can be in your social media, and all of them will be in your email marketing campaigns. So when you create content, try and make sure you're creating content for all of your audiences. That way you reach everybody. Your middle of the funnel are going to be people who are like interested in you and your brand and your artwork, but they haven't purchased yet. So normally with those people, you want to nurture them more and connect with them more. And then the bottom of your sales funnel is going to be the people who convert. There is this new, not funnel, I guess it's like a funnel strategy now where they are splitting up into 4, because what happens a lot of times is people tend to forget their bottom of the funnel once they convert. And that is like one of the biggest mistakes ever, because it's going to be a lot easier to reconvert people who have already converted before, as long as you're putting out really good work and presentation of that work. It's a lot easier to get clients to purchase again than it is to get new clients to purchase. So just keep in mind when you're posting, when you're doing your email campaigns. By the way, with email campaigns, you can do the exact same thing as with social media, where you schedule content. I do something which I've been working on, and it's a lot of work initially, but it'll pay off in the long run. And it's called email automations. So you can send triggers and email strings based on when somebody signs up, to take them along a journey, to tell them about you and explain about like each of your collections and the process. And you like slowly introduce them to yourself. And then you can also do follow-ups if somebody like viewed your webpage, blah, blah, blah. I'm going off on a tangent because I have like so many things that are connected with this. But email automations are absolutely wonderful, and you definitely should look into them. If you have like a large email list already, you still want to do that to introduce like your new clients and take them along that journey. I do the email automations, and I still send an email every week. My weekly email is more just telling people what's new. And then the other ones that coincide are like explaining in depth. Now, A/B testing. This is, I have a love-hate relationship with it because it's so much and I get so scatterbrained. I actually really like this side of the business a lot. I work a lot. I paint like 40 hours a week, and then I'm like marketing 30 to 40 hours a week, learning and looking at my reports and stuff like that. But the simple explanation of A/B testing is taking it, for example, a social media post, which everybody has insights in, and you look and you post practically the same content, but say you change like the caption underneath and you see which one performs better. So you want to consistently be doing this with everything in your business. You can do it with your email automations, your posting, your artwork itself. My reports, like you can dig deep into it. For instance, I can look and see, like I can run ads differently for each different platform and see like which one engages better, because Facebook engagement is very different than Instagram engagement with what people engage with, as well as email marketing. So A/B testing is really crucial, and it takes a long time. Like the sales funnel, once you generally get a new client, it can take up to 3 months for them to convert. Sometimes longer, sometimes it can be a couple years. A/B testing also takes a really long time. And I know people want instant results, but it's really something that is really important if you want to know where you're going and what you're doing is right. And that can be broken down into so many different areas. I really focus A/B testing on my email marketing campaigns, as far as especially like the headers of the emails, and then with social media posts. Through A/B testing is how I kind of found out like with the engagement rates. So if I want to post to reach a lot of people, like I know kind of what to post, but also I know what to post in order to generate sales. And they don't necessarily, like I said, get good engagement, but they do lead to sales. So A/B testing is really crucial. And I guess if you guys have any questions about it, because there's so many little different parts of it. So if you want like specific examples, I can tell you. Yeah. I don't know, like, because it's like really intricate, but it's really simple at the same time.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Just curious, when you're talking about A/B testing and you're talking about the social media platforms, are you using Google Analytics? I mean, how are you? I'm just curious how you're
No,
doing it from a tactical
so
standpoint.
on social media, and you have to have a business account. I think, does it work for personal? I don't know. I've never had a personal Instagram account. So you have to have a business account. And if you have a business, or I think Creator now allows it, you can go into your insights and it'll like break down everything for you. So it'll
Okay.
show you like your top performing posts, and like you can see like, so I've noticed for me that posts with like text over the top of the frame of the initial video always perform better for reels than like ones without.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
but then if you like do email, like if you use, like I use a Vita for my email. I actually really like them. They link with Shopify, which is my provider, and my Shopify provides reports too. And then all of my apps and extensions provide reports, and I can go in and see, like, it'll break down and it'll show like, since I send an email every week for my new collection release, I'll change up the wording a little bit more, and I'll see like how people engage, and if it has a higher click-through rate or conversion rate, and open rate, and etc.
Okay. All right. So the key is to to work off those business accounts. Or do you said you use Facebook, and do you use other ones, I assume, or?
I've never had a Twitter. Maybe I
Okay.
need one. I have Instagram and Facebook. So why A/B testing is so crucial is because every single business and every single person is different. I really built my brand based upon, or my brand based upon healing. So my audience generally is people that can relate to me more. It's weird because, like, so for me personally, like with A/B testing and looking at my analytics, my AOV, which is average order volume, my AOV is lower on Instagram, but I get more orders on Instagram. And then my AOV on Facebook is double, but I get less orders.
Less orders.
So, but I think it's variable again, like who your audience is and who you're connecting with and where they're at.
Cool. Thanks.
Heather, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And everyone, I have to mention, we first came in contact with Heather via Call to Artists several years ago. And from that day forward, she always stuck in our minds, not just because of her artwork, but because of how she addresses her own business. And this is the top line item that I want to share with you all in case it's not clear. Everyone here in Artlink land, we are very respectful of the fact that every artist out there, you are your own CEO. We are, okay, I'll speak for me. I'm amazed at the talent that you bring forth, and you have to be creative. You have to tap into the deep in your soul and create something out there for the world to observe, sometimes critique. And at the same time, you have to make time for accounting and marketing and managing your business like any other business owner does. And I really want you to know that we remind people of that quite often. And that's kind of one of the motivations of this series itself. And so I want to thank Heather for joining us. I'm hearing it from an artist, straight from the artist's mouth is invaluable. So thank you for being here. Please stay on because I think a couple of questions are popping up. We'll get to a Q&A section a little bit later. And then Melissa, thank you so much for investing the time and sharing your expertise and your wisdom with the artists gathered here today and those watching the recording. We appreciate you as a wonderful teammate, Melissa. Thank you. Looking forward to doing more series and workshops in the future. So stay tuned. We have a lot of good ideas popping up in the Artlink office, believe me. So as we move forward, we'll look back for a second. Everything you've heard so far is promoting your work at a global level. Let's identify the platforms that are available to you. These platforms provide a one-to-one relationship of sorts. You are producing your work, you are creating the relationships on these platforms. This emanates from you. From Artlink's perspective, And as I mentioned at the introduction, we're always on the lookout for ways to support what you do and that connection with business and the rest of the community throughout Arizona. So what is it that we can do to contribute to your path forward as you're looking to connect? Well, if you joined us or viewed our annual meeting at the end of June, you saw that we shared the very first live, not even a preview, it was actually live platform that we've created called Artinerary. So if you visit artinerary.com, you will see a one-stop shop of sorts. It's a custom-made digital platform produced in partnership and with the support from the city of Phoenix, as well as the Arizona Commission on the Arts. And I do want to give a shout out to Nick Norris, our web developer, who's worked very hard on the back end development of this customized platform, as well as Chris Mockney, who's with us on the call tonight, working on the design aspects and really helping think through both the design and the marketing of this platform. What you see on artinerary.com today is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. And for those of you who have connected with Artlink for several years now, you may recall another platform referred to as PUG. That was Phoenix Urban Guide. That was Artlink's 1.0 version of a connected platform. It really trying to think on behalf of the artists and the rest of the community who were looking for what was happening in the world. Or if you're an artist, you want to get your artwork out there and maybe people find you on social media, but maybe there's another platform that can help connect people with your work because they are looking via the search of an arts and culture community. Well, people may not know the artists in the artist's work where they can buy specific works from. They may be on the hunt for a gallery experience or a studio opening or a stage performance. And so that's where the matchup of the calendar, the artist directory, and maps. We think we have a winning combination that will help the community find you and your work. So at the heart of this process, and I think most of you may be familiar with the next person I'm about to introduce, is Leslie Krieger. So Leslie Krieger has been with Artlink for many years now, and she is the Artlink Participant Liaison. And in case you're watching this for the first time and you don't know, what the heck's an participant? So many years ago, Artlink promised to make sure that we serve our community, and we needed to identify who that community was. And that community we dubbed as participants. These are artists, art supporting businesses, arts and culture organizations, and arts and culture venues. These are the stakeholders of the arts and culture community, and this is who we are serving. Artinerary is at the heart of how we're going to serve this community as we move forward. And Leslie Krieger, with not only her caring, her insight, and her knowledge, she's at the crux of that connection between making sure our participants are aware of Artinerary and help provide the tools and guidance they need to get the most they can out of this new platform. So Leslie, thank you so much for your work, and I'm turning this over to you.
Thank you, Katrina. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Melissa. I actually created a video to kind of showcase Artinerary. It's about 16 minutes. I just was hoping that I kind of grasped on everything that we needed to kind of share about the Artinerary platform and tried to keep it short and sweet because I can go off on long tangents and twist around and things. So I was trying to keep it short, sweet. So this is just kind of a summary of Artinerary. And then if you want to know more or learn more about it, you can definitely reach out to me, info@artlinkphx.org. And to note that anybody on this Zoom today in the chat, you can see the link to register for your profile if you are an Artlink participant. And then if you are not an Artlink participant or a current participant, you can register so that you'll also get that link to create your profile. If you're looking at this saying, man, this is really neat and I haven't created my profile yet. Well, I sent you the links, you're good to go. And you can get started on that right after our Zoom session. I am not exactly sure how to share how the screen should be shared. Somebody can help me out with that. You're on mute there, Katrina. Help me out here.
Melissa, can you stop sharing?
There we go.
Leslie, you see a green share screen.
Got it, got it, got it.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Teamwork.
All right, does this work? Let me push play, open that up. All right, shoot. There we go. All right.
All right. Right now.
Leslie, I'm not getting volume.
What's that, Katrina?
Are
Is
others
this
hearing
working?
volume? I see the video, but I'm not getting volume.
Anybody else? Is it just Katrina's screen or mine?
No volume, no screen. I hear your voice.
No sound.
No sound.
Participant and they. Is it working now?
Oh, just got a glimpse of it.
You did hear something?
Ever so
All right,
brief.
let's try this one more time. Oops.
Oh, this worked earlier. Let's see. One moment. Apologies, everyone.
Sorry, is everybody hearing that yet?
I am not.
Nothing, okay.
Let me try something on my end. Stop your share screen.
Okay.
Let's give this a shot. Do you have any musicians who want to sing a little interlude as we, okay. So you don't want to hear me, I'll tell you that. Okay.
It's our tenor. Welcome to Itinerary. Right now we are at itinerary.com and we are going to focus on view all events, browse locations, and browse artists. We'll start with browse artists because most of you are probably artists. And we're going to click right over here. And this is the artist profile page. These are all the artists that have registered as an Artlink participant, and they have created their artist profile on Itinerary. As you'll see, it's itinerary.com/artistsaz. Prior to Itinerary, we did have a full-on website called artistsaz.com, and we do plan to bring that back. It is just currently under construction. So we just have this as our profile page for now until we finish the construction on artistsaz.com, and that'll have a new fresh look as well. So as we're looking at the profiles here, I just want to draw attention to how the profiles look and how they lay out on our website. As you see, we would like to keep the profiles, your face on them. This is your profile. So we want to have beautiful artist faces represented. And then as you're looking at how your bio lays out, start to think about how you could lay that out better so that if somebody's just skimming itinerary.com/artistsaz, they're getting to know you as an artist. So maybe start with just the top 3 things that make you an artist. And not start with your name. Like we have your name right here. And so adding just a quick, here's an example over here is Melissa's page. Yay. She's an award-winning actor, host, and pro speaker. So you can see that that all fits right here on this profile page for her. And then as she created her page, which is so lovely, you see how she laid it out. It's one sentence right at the top. She skips a line and then she goes into her actual bio. And then at the bottom of her bio, she's added all of her social handles so that people can reach out to her. And then as you see, this is just her profile page or profile image, but also you can click over in all of her gallery. You can see her as an artist listed. So she's added artist images. So that is what a good profile page is going to look like. So if you have already created your profile page and you feel like you could make some adjustments to make it a little beefier, please do so. You can also add tags to your page. And then these little gems right here, this is fun. This clearly is for her website, but we're going to be turning Itinerary into an app over the next, probably next year. And so the follow Melissa or how many follows she has is actually going to be for the Itinerary app. And then that's going to be an interactive feature that's going to Katrina, volume went out again. Katrina. If you want to stop it, the volume went out again.
Hi, okay, we'll take a pause. Is the audio not working for everyone?
No. But if you want to just backtrack just a smidge, I'll try to keep up with my video and I'll just speak over it. What was I trying to say here?
I love it. How far back?
Let's go back a little further. I think we were just moving over to locations. So yeah, go ahead and start there and we'll see where it goes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, this is going to be fun.
I'm going to mute it.
Oh, yay, Melissa. So yes, we went over the sweet follow Melissa Farley and followers are for the new app that will be coming out. And the way this has been built out was it has been built out piece by piece with the app in mind. So as we make changes to the Itinerary website, it's so that we can better focus on how the app's going to turn out. Is it playing? Yeah, I don't think it's playing. You want to push play?
I think it's playing.
There we go. Okay, yeah. Funny thing about Loom is the cursor still like swings around. Okay, so now we are moving on to browse locations. And here is the great map. If you have a location, you will have a dot on the map, so you can kind of zoom in or out and see how many business participants we have with us. And this is a mere fraction of all the participants we have. People are still building out their profile pages with us. So you can see on view locations as well, you have the name of the business, their address, and then how many events they have currently. And I think we're going to view a location. And here it'll show you the map, a little closer version of where they're located. It'll show you those are actually the links for the business or the events that they have hosting. And then right where my cursor is pointing is actually you can add a gallery of images for your business. So that way people and us can pull from that gallery to share. Share business, guests will just want to see what other things you have going on at your business. Okay, and last of all, the cherry on top of everything is the events. This is our calendar page. And these are all the events that are currently listed, and we list them by date order. And then after the date order, we have the name of the business who's hosting, the event name, and then just a quick little, the first sentence of the event. So again, when you're creating that event, you can really be thoughtful on what that first sentence of your event is going to say, so that it's kind of capturing the audience to want to click on that event. And again, here, oh, there's your map. Oh, there's your image. So that's the main image. There's 3 different images that we request during your event creation, and Chris will talk about that. And then you also have, what do you call it? Read more opportunities, and all those are all the dates that are listed for your event, and another gallery. And again, we love having you add images, gallery images to your events as well, especially Melissa, when she's creating content for showcasing you on social media. Sometimes one image is going to work better than another image. So now we're going to go to the dashboard and talk about how to set up your profiles. You can see right there, that is your artist profile zone. And then there's location zone as well. My dashboard is going to look different than your dashboard. So if you're an artist, you only have to set up your artist profile. And right where I'm pointing, that is actually where you can update your artist profile once created. It's kind of hidden in this site currently, and we're going to move it out, but currently it's just in the little spot to the right. And then that's also where, when we hit those little hearts, your artists you follow, locations you follow, and events you follow. That's where those are going to show up. And so if you don't want to skim through the entire profile pages, when we have 1,000+ artist profiles, you can actually start following them and have them there, so you can kind of keep up to date on what they're doing. Same with locations and events. That's your locations. If you have a location that you want to add, that'll be down here and listed out for you to add, edit, view. And if you have more than one location, you can do that. And again, here's your submit an event. Let's see where we're going. Where is I going? Okay, submit event. This is kind of fun. I feel like a comedian, talking over a movie or something. I think if we're going to be clicking on the submit new event. Did it pause? There we go. I don't know what I was talking about at the time, so I apologize. Or did it pause? I think it paused.
Bill.
There we go. Oh my gosh. Okay. You can choose if it's an in-person event or a virtual event. And you select your location only if you actually have a location in Itinerary already. So that's All One House or Mood Room are the examples I gave. If you don't have a location built out, then you will leave this blank when you're creating your event. Then you'll add your phone number, your email, anything that you want to share in those spots you can. Featured image is definitely what you want to do. And then these other options you're going to be able to add. And again, Chris will go through the added image options that are just going to be beneficial. You're going to love adding other images. And then event category and event tags. These are, again, going to help us as we navigate through Itinerary, what best suits your event. So I put in open mic, it's music, and it's family friendly. You have 1 category to choose from and 5 tags to add. We did limit it only because we don't want to dilute it as well. And then this is crucial, event dates. There is individual event dates and reoccurring event dates. If you have, 3 events or 3 dates, you'll probably want to use the individual event dates, and the start date and end date must be the same date. You can't put in August 22nd and then August 25th. That actually won't, the system won't allow it to show up publicly. So you want to keep those individual event dates the same date, and then just add another date with it. And then reoccurring event dates, you'll choose whether it's weekly, monthly, annually, and then how often it repeats. It repeats daily, every day. I don't remember what I put in here. Let's see, 65 days. And then you can add what date it starts and what date it ends, and then load the dates. The times, try to pick what the most common time is, because it's going to load all of them at the same time. And then you'll finish building out your event, and then we'll go back to fixing the times. Is this event free? If it is not free, it'll give you the ticket link. If you say, yes, it is free, your ticket link won't show up. And then you submit your event. So there is a little trick to editing. That's like the basic create the event, and then you're going to go in and edit your event, and that's going to allow you. We're saying if this event address did not have a location that was in itinerary, and mostly artists are not going to have a location. So you can create your event address here. So if you're an artist, your location is private, but you're showing at a gallery that's not yours, just put in that gallery's address here. That one's the mood room address. So you guys are all showing at the mood room. And then again, when you look down, the location should be empty. And then admission information or description, add the social handles here too, as you did on your artist profile. Just copy and paste a little chunk of social handles. So that way they're all available for guests to check out your page as your event is moving forward. That's where I said location, keep it empty. And then you can add your event city and your categories and tags if you want to add anything. And then make sure that you close that up and you save it. Oh, and event dates. Hold on, we're going to close the event detail. Event dates, here's where you can add and edit or adjust. So I think my example was you're closed on Mondays. You can just pop in here after everything's been there and just delete all the Mondays. You can just delete them. They're out of the public eye. And then you can go in and just say that Sundays you're actually closed, or what did I say? Probably not Sunday. Another day you're actually open later. Fridays you're open later than just 9 p.m. So you can go in there and adjust the times for your Fridays. And then Sundays you're open earlier. So then you can go in there and just hit the little edit button and change to an earlier time. So that's kind of the workaround to make sure you can do a bulk upload of all the dates that you have showing. And a lot of time we know that there's, a 30-day showing. So that's how you're going to best do your 30-day showing. And where do we go next? Okay, so there's your new event. You can have as many events as you want, and you can edit them as you feel you would like to edit them. Sometimes it's nice to be able to see where you've been, and sometimes it's nice just to delete them and get them off your profile page. So now we are looking at all the events. Oh, and that's the event I just created. So it's showing you exactly what the event is. And I was showing that because I didn't add a location, that location name is not going to be listed there. So that's why that's a little different than the others, because I did not put a location in. And now I think we're going to show you itinerary, like the official itinerary. Like this is where it got its namesake from. We are going to create an itinerary. Hold on, where are we going? Pretty sure that's what we're doing right now. Oh, we were showing you the images. So this is a wide version image. And the way that it'll look if you want to add the different image sizes. I promise you watching this video was way better than trying to have me muddle through it on my own. Okay, so itinerary. You'll see in the upper right-hand corner of all these events, there's like a little calendar icon. And so as we click on those calendar icons, they're going up in the upper right-hand corner of the page. You see itinerary with the number 7 on it. I think that says number 7. Those are all of the itineraries that I've been adding for myself. So you see it says event added to itinerary. And I just went from 7 to 10. And then we're gonna go see our itinerary. So these are all the things that I want to go see. And then I just realized that I don't want to go on the 23rd. So I'm deleting them off of my itinerary. And then you have the option of emailing your itinerary to yourself or viewing your itinerary page. So I'm emailing that to myself. And now I have that full list in my inbox that I can share with my friends and say, hey guys, let's go out. And then this is my itinerary page that actually has a unique URL. So again, I can email this URL to myself, or I can text it to myself and then send it to all my friends. So this is the map. Again, you can create your map so you know where you're going, and then all the listings. And if you click on any of those listings, then it'll take you right back to the event to see the full event. So that is actually why we call this itinerary, because you are creating a real live opportunity to gather your friends and see all the events that you want to see in one night. So yay. And if you guys have seen the newsletters recently, we've been testing out how we can just kind of copy drop our itineraries into our newsletter. So that's kind of fun. That's it. Woo.
All right. Thank you. Let me make sure I turn that off. Thank you, Leslie.
Woo.
Okay, so we know, and Melissa, if you'd like to put up the presentation again. Well, we know where we are in the agenda. But Leslie, thank you so much. And as a follow-up to that, I know those of us who've been working on this project have a few points we probably want to touch on, but I think now would be a great time to go to Chris and kind of refresh and orient everyone to the image sizes that we're talking about and kind of the whys and what fors.
Sure. Thank you, Katrina. So when we were building itinerary, we really wanted to repurpose images that you're already using on the social platforms that Melissa had outlined, the Facebook, Instagram. So what we identified is 3 basically image sizes or ratios that would align with those platforms, so you could repurpose those images and present yourself appropriately on itinerary. So what we did with itinerary is that we stripped it black and white so that we wanted the actual event imagery to be the driving force, be the coolness, the color, the captivating image that is going to draw the audience or the reader in. So essentially we came up with, and I could probably share my screen and pull up a PDF if you would like to unshare, Melissa. I have the brand standards and the guidelines of what the photo upload standard should abide by. So Leslie touched on the event banner, which was that horizontal banner, similar to Facebook. It would be 15 pixels by 500. That's what's going to be set for your event landing page. Your profile will be the square image 1080 by 1080, which is the same thing that Instagram uses for their static image posts. And then your story, your vertical, the 19 by 6 ratio, 1080 by 1920, it's going to be your vertical shot, which is just adding a different level of importance. As we get into the app, that's going to be a primary focus, because what the app is going to do is allow you to see what's around you based on location. And that location is going to be a vertical standard image. So when we're choosing what imagery and what visuals to use to promote your event, you want to really keep in mind on how you can crop that image in different ways to be most visible, legible, keeping any copy away from the margins, so it's going to be chopped and not look or present itself well on any of your social platforms, as well as itinerary. So here we show the horizontal, the square, and the vertical format of how you could just take one image and use it in 3 different croppings. And these would be the 3 correct display options that would best showcase your work on Itinerary as well as the social media platforms that we discussed. And then, when you're creating the event, you really want to be as descriptive as possible. You want to make sure that you're thinking of the event from an attendee's perspective. So the who, what, where, give them all the information that's going to suit your event. Use multiple images. Make sure that you're adding images to the gallery, or what we're going to reword to portfolio. Making sure that you're showing the event space, the artwork, almost the behind the scenes type of imagery. Include your social handle, any information about buying tickets if it's not a free event, include that link, logistical information, location, and then lastly, tagging. Make sure that you're tagging not only Itinerary or Artlink or using your own handles, but you're going to get better options for us to then share your events and share your content if a few things happen. If your event profile is fully filled out, if you're tagging us in that event, we'll get the notification of the event and review it. And then also just making sure that you're keeping the artwork full focus. You're not using any uncredited art with an image behind you. And again, like that behind the scenes work is what we're really looking to showcase when we're telling stories and promoting events. We want to make sure that that artist profile or that event profile is fully filled out so that we can promote it the way that is going to best fulfill that event.
Fantastic. Chris, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And everyone, Christopher Mockney has been with us for many years now and has really stuck through through our entire process of evolving from Pug to Itinerary, and we're very grateful to him. And as you can observe by those who have just spoken over this past hour or so, Artlink is really, really fortunate to have such a solid team, and not everyone is even on this call, but you have experts in the field at the ready to support you in your work. And I do want to add, and Melissa, maybe need to bring up the agenda again. This is like the epitome of help us help you sort of thing, and here's why. We honestly believe, we know Itinerary is built to go the long haul. I mean, this is a very robust platform. You may look at the uploads of the events and the images in a way where you haven't really recognized that kind of uploading before, and it's a little different. Why can't it do this? We promise you, we're going to keep an eye on it to refine processes as we go. That's promise number 1. Promise number 2, it will be worth your while to learn how to upload this information that was just shared, because Itinerary will be the go-to resource of the arts and culture community here in Arizona. We are working very hard to connect Itinerary with partners in the community throughout, not just the Valley, but throughout the state. And so the last thing I want to add at this point would be this. You are the secret sauce to Itinerary, the artists. This platform, this calendar, this directory, this map is literally built with artists in mind. We're not ignoring the arts and culture organizations. We absolutely need their participation in making Itinerary as robust as it can be. But if you are an artist with a location, please upload your information. If you are an artist that doesn't have a location that's open to the public, that's okay. Register and log in and upload your information as a working artist, because as a reminder, as Leslie mentioned earlier, all artists will be included in the soon to be launched fully robust, artisaz.com. So there will be a directory on Artinerary, and that will also power the dedicated resource that will be artisaz.com. So those are my additional notes at this point. And Melissa, I think we're on the right page to provide additional tips here. But I think we've covered most of this already. And there we are. So we are at the Q&A section. And I think there are a few questions. Okay, in the chat. And let's see, I think some of these have been answered already, but I know we're at 7:30, but we don't want to say goodbye until we make sure we answer your questions. So let me see. Thank you so much for your kind remarks in the chat. We sincerely appreciate it. I believe Leslie answered a couple of questions here. Are there additional questions that anyone would like to ask?
I would also just like to share something that might be helpful. And we're not related or like promoting this author or person, but there's a really cool book called Artpreneur, the step-by-step guide to making a sustainable living from your creativity by Miriam Schulman. And it was a phenomenal book. It was so many tips and helpful things for artists who are trying to, up level their marketing game. So definitely recommend a good read.
Thank you, Melissa. And I am remembering there was a question for Heather from Robert's iPhone 13, if Robert is still with us. Heather, when did you have a big breakthrough? What was the content for your viral message?
That's a hard one to answer because I feel like I've had so many milestones over the years, and I kind of just get so like I've been full-time now for 3 years, and I get so caught up in just trying to like maintain full-time that I forget about that stuff. One of them was the project that with you guys for Cambria. That was awesome. I think actually that project was something that helped me quit my part-time job at the time. So you know that. So everybody praise Artlink. They can help launch your career. I know like taking that step is really scary. And it takes time, but it's definitely worth it. And it's not easy. It's still not easy for me. I mean, like I've bought a house with my art. I'm full-time, but I'm working way more than 9 to 5, and it's stressful. Like I have really, really, really good years. And then like this year's a little slower because of, everybody doesn't have as much extra spending money. But I think if I can tell anybody anything, regardless if you're full-time or you're not, is just to listen to your fans and your followers and not be afraid to speak to them, because honestly, they really have given me the most fuel. Like I just did a post not even a week ago, and I was like really scared to like social media, everybody is so curated and everybody just wants like put their best foot forward. And I reached out to everybody and like told them I was struggling and like my fears with the way things are with the economy right now and people buying art not as much. And they really fueled me. So all of my followers and my collectors, like their comments. So pull from yourself and pull from the community and be true to yourself and be true to your work and believe in yourself. And I will say that since I've been full-time and since I took that leap, and that leap is very, very scary, the biggest breakthrough for me was doing that, because now I have no choice. Like I have to pay the bills, and that has really pushed me into learning about A/B testing, sales funnel, marketing, and all of that stuff. And it keeps me fueled with creating because I have to produce. But know when the time is right. And sometimes it takes a while, and you will know when the time is right. I was toying with it for a while, and I kept telling myself if I got a big project, I was going to do it. And then, You
That's
guys,
awesome.
yeah, you guys really helped fuel my career and where I'm at today. It's been like 4 years now, right?
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah,
Heather,
so
for those, let me fill in the context there. Thank you so much, Heather. Several years ago, Artlink facilitated a call to artists on behalf of the Cambria Downtown Hotel. For those of you who may have driven downtown right at 3rd Street and Portland, you maybe getting off the freeway, see a hotel, see these beautiful images on the side of the exterior walls. Those images were created by Heather, and she was selected via a call to artists. The original works are in the lobby, and we are still to this day very grateful to the Cambria team for opening that opportunity to the Arizona artist community. And really, that building still stands out to this day. So thank you so much. And okay, go ahead.
sorry. And they, I did another like smaller scale project with them too. So you guys definitely like, you never know. I was like, I'm not going to get this call. There's no way. Like, I'm not going to get this project, but I'm like, you never know. And like, even to this day, I still get rejection letters all the time. You just have to just keep moving forward and keep trying, because eventually somebody's going to say yes, or eventually you're going to figure out what works for you and what helps launch you. But also know that even if something launches you, then that becomes like your like level point, you know, and then you're going to be continuously waiting for like the next launch. And like, so I realize that I'm in a position where a lot of people reach out to me and say that they look up to me and they're envious of me because I'm able to provide for myself as an artist full time. But it's not like, for me, like, it's not how I feel like I would have imagined it. Per se. So just know that like where you're at, no matter where you're at, you're meant to be at that point. And it's not, nothing is ever as it seems. And I'm so grateful and I love it. And this is everything, but just don't like beat yourself up if you're not where you're at, because as soon as you get to where you're at, then like you just want to progress more, I guess.
Beautiful. Heather, thank you so much for being here tonight. But make sure that we're not missing any questions. Thank you, Chris, for answering the questions. And the comment about, there's a question about the, will this sync with to Google for searches? Yes. And just an added note, for years now, even when we were only working with Pug, and we hope that Itinerary will provide the same. The artist profile pages built in Itinerary, those are unique URLs. And so for those artists who are not quite to the point of building out their own website, they make for fantastic web profile pages that you can share for perhaps grant applications or calls to artists, et cetera. And so I would be remiss if I didn't mention that one of our previous workshops did focus on submitting to calls. So I encourage you to check that out. And are there other questions here?
I'll just make a comment. I actually added Artlink's logo, and then I embedded that URL that takes it to my profile. So yeah, so just a little
Nicely
hack
done.
there. Yeah.
Nicely done.
And if somebody needs the P, let me know. Of course, I'm an SVG too.
Phil, thank you. I'm not seeing any other questions here, and I think we're at a point of wrap. We just so appreciate you and spending your evening with us. We're big fans of you. We know so many of you. If we haven't met you yet, we look forward to meeting you in person. Once again, I would like to thank the City of Phoenix Office of Arts and Culture for their tremendous support of this series, as well as Artlink as a whole. And thanks again to my colleagues here at Artlink, Melissa Farley, Leslie Krieger, Christopher Mockney, and once again, Heather Freitas. Thank you so much. And we hope to see you next time and see you in person soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you so much.